start the meeting? All right, good evening. This is October 22nd, 2012 Rhinebeck Town Board meeting, and we'll start with a pledge with Sarah Wood from the Girl Scout Cadets of Rhinebeck.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
RFP in the package for the public.
All right, good evening. For announcements, Town Hall will be closed November 12th. That's due to the an observation of Veterans Day, which is November 11th. There's always a ceremony at the Rhinebeck Cemetery in the Veterans section, so that's usually at about 10 or 11. You can call Town Hall. We'll find out the details if you want to join that. The next Rhinebeck Town Board meeting will be November 13th due to the holiday. That'll be Tuesday rather than Monday. The Rhinebeck landfill will be open on October 27th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. to accept yard debris and brush. That's October 27th, 9 to 1. Election Day is November 6th, and the polls will be open at 6 a.m. through 9 p.m. The Rhinebeck Concert Series will have a free winter concert to be held on Saturday, November 10th at Town Hall. That's at 7 p.m. And that's part of our rec group, right? Mm-hmm. That's great. Gina, you had a couple announcements.
I have one question on the landfill. If you have your permit for the transfer station, you can go to the landfill. Is that correct?
You don't need one.
Anyone?
Any resident
can
can.
show proof of residence.
Usually, yeah.
Okay. Secondly, I wanted to acknowledge Chris White, who gave 55 years of service to the Rhinebeck Fire Department, who recently passed away. And she was one of the only women who transitioned from the auxiliary to the fire department. And she gave, half a century to her town and to the fire department. So I just thought that was a tremendous accomplishment, and I think, Tom, you'll probably be working on something for her in acknowledgement. And I just wanted to wish the Rhinebeck sports, all of the teams, good luck in the Mahals and the upcoming sectionals, and I wish I were at the Mahals tonight, but I'm here doing my civic duty, so just good luck to all the Rhinebeck teams.
Thanks for being here, Gina. You didn't we appreciate you missing
Tom.
the game. But I encourage you to go. Just remember.
I know you did,
Sorry.
and I appreciated it very much.
Any further announcements? Okay, we have prior minutes, but I think we want to hold them over so the board members can review them again. And
Tom, maybe the second one we can do, that's a very short one. It's the first one, which is long, but
Okay.
if you want to approve the short one, which I think is one.
So if there's no objection, the motion to approve the October 18th, 2012 special town board meeting. The motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
And all in favor, aye?
Aye.
That's so moved. And hold over on the September 24th, 2012. We have two presentations tonight. The first is for the Rhinebeck Town Tech Committee, the RFP.
Swap them if you don't mind. Jim's just arriving.
Okay. You want to...
Is he here? No, he just texted me. He's on his way.
So we'll
Is he here?
hold that one over to, you want to go first? Yeah. So our first presentation will be from our Recreation Director, Sarah Hanneberg, summary of our special events programs.
Hey, thank you Supervisor Trout and fellow board members. My name is Sarah Hanneberg. I am your special events coordinator for the Recreation Department. Most importantly, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our community for all of their support of our special events program. our business community graciously provided the financial support, and the members of our community came out to enjoy the special events that we had. The events we started out with, we had the annual Easter egg hunt, which was done in the snow this year. Put a good spin on it. And then we had our very first summer concert series, which entailed...
I'm sorry, what series?
Summer concert series. We had 6 outdoor summer concerts that was held down at the town pool. With that, we also had some adult fitness programs going on, adult Zumba, and adult aqua aerobics. And this fall, we continued with the success of the concerts into a winter concert series. We had one recently 2 Saturdays ago, and November 10th with Boxcar, and December 8th with Mr. Roper. Also, some of the things we did, we were a good part of the Rhine Cliff Waterfront Day, and we'll be taking part in the winter solstice as well.
What is that?
The winter solstice is celebrating the winter solstice on December 21st. It'll be a bonfire down at the waterfront.
It's a bunch of druids getting together. We do it for a couple of years.
Gonna open it up.
The brush from the landfill,
That's an- that was
No,
already-
no, driftwood.
that's where it should be held.
Basketball and
We have basketball is going on right now, and coming up probably in December, we'll bring in our Atomic Zumba, which is Zumba for the little kids, which was a big hit last year.
And you're in charge of the basketball program as well?
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything you would like from us, Sarah?
Your support. Always feel free to come out and enjoy an event. It's really nice to see everyone who does show up. It takes everyone to pull off community events, and ours especially because it's grassroots. We raised our own money, so thanks to the business community, we wouldn't burn to the taxpayers at all. We are self-sufficient.
What, on all of these, you're self-sufficient?
Yep.
That
Take
was
it.
well,
great.
except for the Easter egg.
Except for the Easter egg hunt, that's a budgeted event.
It's kind of, it's kind of different this year with Sarah's, help. She's kind of reached out for a partnership in our business community to help support the needs for these events and so on. So I got to give her a lot of credit for being able to find the funding for that during these difficult times to provide the services and events for us. So,
But basketball is self-sufficient?
Oh, basketball is self-sufficient as in we charge a fee, and the fees pays for the program.
And same thing with Zumba?
Correct, yes.
How is,
And on the concerts, what kind of attendance do you get?
We had a range good between 50 and 75 people. The weather definitely played a part. We had one concert we had to cancel due to tornado, and we had that rescheduled for September, but again, that date was another tornado warning. So we'll bring them back in the springtime.
maybe you shouldn't reschedule them. I'm just kidding.
Inside.
Yeah. Just a tornado.
But for a first time go at it, I was really pleased. We had a lot of positive feedback.
Good.
For many people, they didn't know we had a park, so it was their first time bringing their families to the park, so it was very positive.
These Rhinebeck people who didn't know we had a park?
Yes.
How did you advertise these things?
We had a radio partnership with WKZE. They were a radio partner. We partnered with Rhinebeck Bank. We did posters, beautiful posters that a former classmate designed at no charge. It was like our fundraising, it was a grassroots marketing campaign. We got on all of the community calendars and reached out through social media.
We went through the website a lot, right?
And the
our
website and
blurbs.
the newsletters.
Great, well, hopefully it'll just keep growing, you know? It's a good first year.
It was a tremendous first year, slow growth, opening up the doors. The park has so many beneficial aspects to offer, and along with sports, we can bring in cultural activities. It's definitely a bonus and is a positive for the community.
Thank you.
Thanks, and
Thank
you
you.
also volunteered with the marathon this year, half marathon, all those things
I was
that
at the
happened.
the
Yeah,
marathon.
yeah.
It was a busy weekend. It was a good weekend. It was a very successful weekend. It took many volunteers to pull that off, and I should say, when you do events, usually your family and friends run away fast, but I want to give a special thank you to my parents, my stepfather drove people around the course on Saturday and was with me here at the concert, and then on Sunday showed up 6:30 in the morning, and he was in charge of porta potties and water stations, and my mother she was in charge of baggage check, whereas the runners could check their bags. So she had a really good opportunity for a lot of one-on-one conversations. How many people were very grateful that Rhinebeck opened up to bring in this event, and many people can't wait to do it again next year.
Does the town sponsor that, or that's separately sponsored and you just ask for permission from the village and I guess the town to police it? How does that work, these
It-
marathons?
We financially did not support it. I had my time, but we participated in it, and we supported it through myself, our website, Kathy with Highway.
The hospital was a beneficiary
The
of that. Do we know how much money we actually got from that event?
No, Matt is still working through the numbers.
Will we get a report about that?
Yeah, last year we got, I don't know, $150, something like that.
$150.
And this year it's 50 cents per runner, I believe.
Correct, 50 cents a runner.
And that basically covers what it costs us to mow the fields for
Right,
parking.
but that's a for-profit enterprise that runs that
Yeah.
race, is that correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
But you see, what we did, we pulled back a lot this year from last year. What we've been trying to do, and when I say we, the rec committee, we've been trying to seed things to get them going. And then once they succeed, we pull out. And, because they can stand on their own or fail on their own at that point.
So
So-
they paid for the police?
Yeah.
And the,
Yeah, they pay for everything. Nothing is donated. They like to pay ahead. These are the numbers, not including race day registration. We have 683 total with the 5K and half marathon. 45 of those were from Rhinebeck, 4 from Rhinecliff, 9 from Red Hook, 20 from Poughkeepsie, 14 Kingston, 86 from New York City, 15 from Albany. We had a runner from Alaska, a couple from California. We really stretched out. So it was a really good showing. And we'll have final numbers probably next week.
and if we get 50 cents a runner, how much did they charge to enter?
There's 3 different fees. There's a pre, and then there's the actual, and then the closer to the race is a little bit more expensive, but average it out to $60. Half marathons are typically more costly to enter due to the additional support it takes with the porta potties, the water stops, the extra support. They're expensive to put on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, is this our responsibility? Do we run it? Say somebody trips, who should they be suing? Us or the hospital or
That's a joke question.
You,
personally?
personally.
Okay. But ideally, it shouldn't be a town-sponsored event. That's what I'm...
Well, that's why Sarah said we didn't pay anything for it. It's not a
Right.
town-sponsored event.
Right.
No, no taxpayer money is going towards the event.
Right.
No, but
so-
we had to approve it.
Yes, along with the village.
That's because it's police and it's running on town
Town and village. yeah.
town property or?
We also had a disc golf tournament scheduled, but we didn't pull that off this year because somebody stole the 9th hole. And
Is that the
we haven't-
scrap
That's the
metal
one I
thief?
can make.
Yeah, and we haven't been able to put it back, so.
Well, it just seems to me if we're getting 50 cents out of every $60 made, that there's a better ratio that we should be asking for.
We've tried.
I'm happy to take that on.
Okay. We've been down that road. This year it was, what, the hospital had more of a problem, or the foundation with us asking for more? Is that correct? I was the one that asked for more.
You asked for more, and then I negotiated. You asked for $1. I was able to negotiate to 50 cents.
I would ask for 30.
Well,
We could start there.
yeah. There's also, what the outlook for that in the future is, that the parking may move to the fairgrounds.
Yeah, as the race grows, we would definitely outgrow that spot.
Yeah, because I tried to return books at the library and I couldn't even get in.
Yeah, because we had it closed up for the safety of the runners, because it was
Sure.
the finished area.
Sure, I'm just saying there is an impact on
Yeah.
daily life.
Well, there is
that I
with the
think-
turkey trot and a lot of the other things.
Yeah,
that we
but that doesn't have, they're proposing 1,000 runners, and that's a big impact. So I just think we need to look out for our interests, for the interests of the town.
Why didn't you take a paper towel and write some number on it and go in that way?
And run in with my books?
Good idea.
But thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. We have, you guys ready? All right, we have Jim and Kevin Jeffries, the Town Tech RFP Workshop. Are you ready for that, Elizabeth?
I'm ready if the Jeffries are
The
ready.
Jeffries are here, Kevin and Jim.
The RFP, I'll just give a brief introduction and then I'll turn it over. We have our chair of our tech committee here too, Dave Cliffon, if he would like to speak to it. I'm new to the board this year and wanted to be a liaison to the tech committee because I saw a need for us to step up a little bit our technological resources in town hall. And there are basically 5 points that we wanted to address, and they're all in this RFP. And the purpose of tonight is to allow the board members to vet it and make sure that things are in here that we'd like to be included, and open it up for public discussion, and change any little things like the dates were lagging a little bit, and get it out to the public for bid. But basically what we want to achieve with this is we would like to have a central server for town hall so that all computers are networked together and we can back up the computers and store our data anywhere we want to. We'd like to get an email system that captures incoming and outgoing email. Our current one doesn't allow for that. We have to sort of decide to what extent we want to give out email addresses. And that's something that needs to be discussed, because if we had everyone on every committee with a town email address, it would be really expensive. So maybe we want to think about limiting that. We also need a wireless router in town hall. I have a Mac PowerBook that can't recognize the signal. I think it's a treadle, like a sewing machine model from the turn of the century. But we need to upgrade that so that we could have access, protected access. We need a firewall, and then public access. And what else? Some computer updating, software updating. What is that? Those are the basic points, right? Dave, would you like to comment at all? Should we turn it over to the Jeffries? The Jeffries have authored this for us, and also will be bidding on it, so we want to vet it publicly.
They can speak first. I have just some comments additionally.
Terrific. So thanks for coming.
Which
guys.
tab number is this?
17.
17.
Could you introduce it and just speak to it and?
Hi, everybody. Again, Jim Jeffries, Northeast Computer. Yes, the Tech Committee, we've been working with them on and off for several years. Dave's been doing a great job. And basically, I think what the town was looking for was to get some sort of structure that would enable them to be able to talk reasonably well to folks that are out in the community that might be interested in bidding on this. So we kind of sat with the tech committee a couple of times, and then we sat with some of the members here on the board in order to try to come up with the basics of what they wanted. And then also to make it easier for folks, if they want to be able to bid on this, to be able to take a look at, on paper, you know, they can of course arrange a time to come here and physically look at the plant, but on paper be able to describe what the town hall currently has and what the town hall would like to have kind of going forward, so they can get an idea on that. As with any RFP, don't want to speak on behalf of the town, but as everyone knows, the town is free to either accept or reject any and all RFP responses that may come from this. This is more or less of a fact-finding mission. If it all comes in well and it looks good, then I would assume that the town would go forward with some deployment of the product. And also on that note, any of the information that's contained in the RFP that will be made available to everybody, even though it is included in here, does not necessarily mean that the town will adopt or accept all phases of this. What they're looking for is a good, clear document, sort of like and I hate to use this phrase, but sort of like a Chinese menu, where they'll be free to pick and choose what it is that may be affordable under the current and upcoming budget. So with that in mind, this is fairly comprehensive. I mean, I've written a lot of RFPs for a lot of towns and villages in the past. Some of that template was borrowed. However, it's all been customized for the town in terms of the hardware that's being asked for in here. There is some stuff I left out, some of the bidding and bonding requirements, because that's really up to what the board wants to do, and then also what the town attorney will recommend for them. So I left some of that information out for right now. A lot of times, that information is left off when the job is really small. Because what happens is you wind up excluding a lot of small players in the market that maybe can't get bonded proposals. So, and again, that's up to the town to decide whether they want to do that. In this particular RFP, I left it off so we'd have the widest amount of interest from folks. And then in here, if folks have not already seen this, and I don't believe we distributed this on the website at this point, we're still in the draft phase, but in here, and I'm going to just do with my glasses.
We can get this on the website, though, after, as soon as this input is made, we'd like to, if you could get it to our town clerk and deputy clerk, it could get on our website.
In here,
But Elizabeth, what is the thought, that we're going to ask people to comment on the RFP?
Just so it's
Or,
public.
This is a workshop, so that you guys should have read through it. I have comments that I want to
no, I'm
amend and make
asking
sure.
about putting it on the website. What are we?
Make it available for people who want to bid on it or question us about it.
Oh, okay, so we're not asking for comments on it, it's just for a bidding document.
Right. it's-
correct. Yes, the old style, I guess we used to put legal notices in the paper, and then people would stop in, and you guys would print lots and lots of copies of these things, and you still will print a few. But generally, we've reduced all of that to posting on the website.
Part of, technological advancement. We'd like to have it all available on the web and backed up on our server.
Yeah, so just to give people a little bit in the table of contents, it's obviously going to have the cover and title and all that, the contents page. But
How do
then
we keep
the most important, I'm sorry.
We know who the potential bidders are, so that if we do an amendment to the RFP, which often happens, how do we get it to the bidders if we don't keep a list of bidders? They just have to watch the website every day to see if we made an amendment to the RFP?
That's a very good question. Yes, there's a couple of things that you would do. First of all, as it says in the proposal here, and we'll post it again on the website, it says that the only official place to get one of these RFPs is from the town clerk or from the town's official website. Once you have that information, there is a time element in here that you have to respond to say, yes, I'm interested in bidding on this project. At that point, we get all the pertinent information, name of the company, name of the individual, and so on. Then it's up to the town. But it's strongly recommended that usually you have one on-site pre-bid conference All right, you don't have to be here for that, but I mean, we would be here and we'd walk them around and we'd show them all the stuff. That way they're familiar with it, so you're not getting an apples to oranges comparison, all right? With all that in place, and if where there was an addendum, let's say we decided, okay, we are going to include the court computers, which we're not, okay, but just using that as an example here. Let's say we wanted to include that, then that would be an addendum, and you're correct. That information then would be furnished to everybody via email or by being posted on the website. That's typically the way it's done, okay? So anyway, just to go over it, in terms of the important information going forward, there's the network brief, which kind of is an overview of what the town currently has and what they're interested in. Then we provide some background information as to how we got here, so you can have a clear indication about that.
I'm sorry, one question I have, it says Highway Department support. We want them to, why is it support in parentheses?
I'll say it again.
On page 3.
Because the reason I put it here, and I'll get to that in just a second, some of the areas we break out if they're not physically in the town
Okay,
hall here,
yeah.
and we want to make sure that just because maybe they're using Highwayman Helper or another product,
We want to make sure that they're networked in and they're taken into consideration.
correct, and even though there might be a third-party application
Or the
that
rec
maybe
department.
isn't supported directly by the town IT or outsource IT folks, that they're still going to be responsible for
I think
interfacing the computers.
And one other thing we wanted to add, and I wanted to discuss this with Bruce, is we'd like a computer at the town pool.
Oh,
Is that where
okay.
you wanted one?
Yeah, I assume when you said buildings, that's where it was going to go.
Right, that was not on here. We did talk about recreation, but we didn't
Yeah,
talk
we
about
should add
physically
one.
putting.
That's where their time
Take us
clock
some notes
is.
here, Kev? Just, okay, I just wanted to get through the thing so that the folks kind of have an idea of what's going on. Then section 2, which talks about the technical requirements, we're going to be very specific on that, types of processors, types of capacity, all that kind of good stuff. People in the industry will be aware of that. And then the administrative requirements, going back to the councilman's point, which is, you know, when these things are due, when the pre-conference would be held, pre-bid conference, and so on. So those are the 3 principal areas that if somebody's going to bid, and they wanted to abbreviate their reading on this, not that they should, but I mean, you'd really want to go from section 1 through section 3. And then, of course, you want to make sure that the form, the way in which you're returning this bid to the town meets what's in the document here, because, and as the town attorney will review it, it's very specific so that we can make an apples-to-apples comparison as to what's going on, and that way it makes it easier for the folks on the bid review committee.
Should we give you comments section by section as you go through it, or
Yeah,
should we wait
well,
to the end?
no, once I finish this section, then it's open for your comments, all right? Lastly, let me just run through this real quick. Just want to make sure I'm covering all the bases for you. There were, with the exception of recreation, there were 8 principal areas that needed to be considered in the background for this: bookkeeping, assessment, building, highway. The Justice Court, you have to understand that they'll be connected to the network, but we don't take care of the software for them. Planning and zoning, supervisor's office and the town clerk's office, and now, according to the councilwoman, the recreation. All right, and let me just move on. There's very detailed information on all those other pages, which we'll get to. I really just wanted to get to the section here. There it is. Yes, make sure you check over the insurance requirements. I mean, even though we may not
page is
have
that?
bond and
What
bid
page-
requirements.
What page are you on now?
That happened to be page 11.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to make sure that people are aware of that there is insurance requirements anytime you're working here in the town hall. All right, and then I talked to you a little bit about the acceptance of terms, which means the town is free to accept or reject any or all. And I did go over the fact that you should make sure that you meet the proposal format and content, all right? And basically, it just means don't bring in, you know, huge cardboard cutouts of what you intend to do. Stick to the normal format shown in here. And then also, there's, of course, the non-compete agreements that are in here. Everybody should be familiar with those. And also the submission timeframes. And also non-collusion, all the typical stuff that we have with municipal projects. And then there's one other section which the town still has to discuss with me. It has to do with the vendor company history and how much detail we want on the companies that may be responding. All right? And then the attestment statement, and that's pretty much, I'm not going to go into all the other details, but that pretty much will cover most of what's in this document. And now I can answer any questions that the board has.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You mind if I sit?
No.
Please do. Obviously, we have to change the dates, but let's just go through all of the other changes. We'll get out our calendars and then come up with that towards the end. We're going to add the rec, the town pool, and we also want to be able to upgrade individual computers. So I think there should be a breakout price for that. We haven't decided really what we want to do, but I think that should be a part of, within the review. We should look at an inventory of the existing computers, hardware that we have, and see what really needs to be updated within town hall, excluding, I think, the courts, because they're on their own schedule, and have a per unit piece to replace some computers.
I would like to ask that we consider putting the cemetery into this as well. I think that the cemetery has a lot of information that should be linked to the town.
Where would it live?
In the cemetery.
In the cemetery,
Where?
at Gary's, on his computer. He's got a computer.
I think we did a backup thing with them already, didn't we? Didn't we implement
Yeah.
some sort of
He
a,
has memory sticks that he backs them up to. He's got 3 memory sticks that he rotates, keeps one.
So that's got to just go away. Yeah, please, quickly.
that wasn't the plan, though, I thought. I thought there was a real,
Well, that's the only thing he has.
Yeah,
He's
along with the floppies, yeah.
right? Okay.
Let's add cemetery, let's add inventorying and a replacement schedule for all of the computers.
Are we going to, Mr. Supervisor, are we going to make sure that there is internet at every location going forward? Because really, in some places, some
Yeah.
towns just decide, no, that one department is just going to have to live on their own, no DSL, no anything. So I don't know, but if we're going to say that there's going to be broadband at every location and we want them to come back through the VPNs we talked about,
I think so.
then we need to
Yeah.
be able to have that.
Right.
I think
That's a
so.
basic.
Is that much more costly?
Well, it's a
likely?
fixed fee to the town unless your cable contract provides
It would be,
for coverage at all municipal
you have Time
locations.
Warner already, right? So the highway has it, the rec may not have it, and cemetery may not have it. Joe, basically, it would be 2 more Time Warner cable subscriptions for a year, but I think we need it.
Are we giving up what we had at the town transfer station? I mean, is that
That
one
was Frontier.
but that's one we don't need anymore, is that correct?
Well, that's
Yeah, we turned it off.
done.
Oh,
But-
we can use the
So,
computer.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just saying, it's a computer and it's
Well,
also.
we've asked for an inventory and an assessment of all, some things may be very outdated, and we'd like to come up with a replacement
Now,
schedule.
the recycling center, that's out of the town's control at this point, right?
Yes.
So they're not going to connect into this anymore?
But do we
No,
have the
we
computer
still
from
have
there?
control of it, we just don't have any use for internet connection.
Right. Sorry, Councilman,
But are they
exactly.
using our computer that's there?
No.
So that is a free computer right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aged, but
Yeah, we're replacing this stuff.
Is our plan to give this to Pam now to look at?
No. I hadn't planned on it.
You might want to just and limit her number of hours. She did look through
What do we want her to look at specifically?
the whole thing to see if there's any issues that she sees or provisions we don't have. Maybe we can limit her number of hours. She did go through the RFP for the building department software. I think she made some useful suggestions, which we put in. I think in your presentation, you assumed that this was going to be run by the town attorney.
They usually do. They usually do. It's up to the board. I mean, as I've pointed out before, I've done a lot of these, so I think I'm very confident that it meets all the requirements of the law. But as the councilman points out, it's never a bad idea, perhaps, to have a cursory review by the town, the town attorney, just to make sure that I haven't omitted any special language that the town likes to use in terms of their bidding requirements.
Thank you.
You might want to run it by and limit her to 4 hours. Let me ask you, on these hardware requirements, are these basic enough that any company, pretty much any company can bid on them?
Yes. I try to keep it as generic as possible.
And you have a requirement in here that the vendor must be able to have a representative able to arrive on site within an hour of requested actionable service. This would limit bidders to a certain geographic area. So we're going to cut out some potential bidders who maybe 2 hours. I don't know if 1 hour is a reasonable number. That's my question for the board. Can we live
Well, you
with?
have to sort of, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Our experience has shown that if you don't limit it to about an hour's drive time, that what you wind up is having long delays. And what's happening now in the world of technology and computing is it's now as important as the telephone. I mean, actually, it's probably more important than the telephone because you can share much more information over it. So when that department is down, there's real loss to the town. Revenue lost from building permits and so on, as well as information lost because you're not able to transmit that. And we're also trying to reduce the amount of cost that the town bears if, let's say the person is portal to portal. So if they're driving, let's say they're outside of Albany and they have to come down and it's an hour and a half, you might be looking at a 3-hour bill before they do anything. Hour and a half down, hour and a half back, and so on. So again, we're trying to make it so that and there's plenty of technology people here in Dutchess and Ulster County. All right, I'm not that familiar with Columbia County, but I don't think you're going to have any problem getting plenty of bidders.
That's true, Jim, but I do like Joe's point. I would hate to leave out Albany, and I think I would be
Gina,
willing.
I think it's, my feelings, it's too far away. If something goes down and it takes people 3 hours to get here, we've lost
It's not
half the
going to
day.
take 3 hours to drive from Albany. I'm just saying it's another 15 minutes, and Albany is why cut that section off from the bid? I mean, I think you're right in that it's going to cost more to have them come and go, but it might be, I would rather have more of a pool to draw on than less. And Albany is an hour and 15 minutes at the max, so.
Is it customary that we pay for drive time here?
It's up to you. I mean, that's going to be part of and also the response of the
because we
bidders.
don't usually.
I mean, if you don't normally because the people that take care of you right now tend to pass by all the time, so there's no additional fee except for
Okay,
actual
so you don't
on-site.
charge
No.
now for drive time?
No. So, but,
So-
and if we get somebody from Red Hook or Rhinebeck, I doubt that they would too. Even if we got somebody from Hyde Park or Kingston, maybe if it's the other side of Kingston, and it does take them 40 minutes to get here, I could see certainly that the person would say, hey, look, if I'm not at job site B and I have to come all the way to job site A here, they're sort of limiting their ability to earn.
Right.
So you have to keep that in mind going forward. But you can put as many restrictions on this RFP as you'd like,
Or expansions.
or expansions on that.
I guess the way, it's not worded in terms of drive time. It says have a representative able to arrive within an hour. So that means that you can't have all your technicians fully busy. Somebody has to hang around the office so he could drive or she could drive to us within an hour.
I could give you an example of that. For those people that have what they call pro support contracts from companies like HP or Dell, okay, 3Com, if they have that and they say that they have a 4-hour response time, you'll get anybody. I mean, he may be the guy traveling up and down between Albany and Poughkeepsie or whatever, and he'll get here within 4 hours. It doesn't mean the problem's necessarily going to be resolved. They'll just have a response within that 4-hour window. So, going back to your question here, which is, you're right, you may not get the person you want. You may get somebody else or an associate that they have, which is another thing. That's part of the vendor. I did put that page in here, which is the vendor background. You sort of want to know, Is it a one-man operation? Are they subbing everything out? Because it's consistency. One of the things we also have found here in the town and the villages alike is that what you're searching here really for is an outsource, since you don't have somebody on site, you really are searching for an outsource IT vendor that's going to kind of adopt and know your network. So you don't want to keep changing that person who's coming in here, because then you're paying for that learning curve all over again. So, and it's also, again, extending the amount of time it's going to take to actually get the thing resolved. Maybe if we go through the suggestions that you have here, we'll go through all that, and if there's something specific, we can come back and address it.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, I'm just wondering for a small bidder, whether it's reasonable to require to have somebody here within an hour.
You can make it,
Reasonable.
Joe.
I don't
Yeah.
know, David,
that's
is that reasonable in the industry, or,
David, did you want to speak
Or-
to your things?
Some other things that I can answer
okay.
very quickly.
I want to talk about RDA.
I think the Jeffries probably have the best answer. Dave Clavon, Town Tech Committee. There are a few options that can be supported by a few people here. One, you can support a system offline, so a majority of the service that needs to be done can be done remotely. So that's a consideration, first of all. Secondly, if there is no significant IT presence here in the town, as we know, it's kind of a void. It's missing, although I spoke to John, and John is tech capable, not to invite him or volunteer him, but if we need somebody to turn something on and off, which is often the case, a server goes down, could somebody run down to the room, unlock it, push a button? That limits the amount of support that's necessary. But in terms of distance, I would say that it's the closer the better, of course. And if you're looking to have a distance, I think I agree with Gina that it should be open for consideration, but it should be a consideration. It should not be something that happens often. It's an emergency situation, and if that is the case, then you're probably going to be worth paying for the distance, but you want to make sure that the vendor is a quality vendor. And I think that in the area you do have good quality service people.
So if I understand you correctly, you're saying we can expand the 1 hour because as a practical matter, most stuff will get fixed offline. We don't need somebody here, and we need somebody available by phone, perhaps within an hour with a longer drive time.
Yes, that's an opinion with some experience, is that you will limit the amount of emergency on-site service calls based on the fact that often it's remote. If a system goes down entirely and there's physical problems, you need physical presence.
Thank you, Dave. Did you have other points?
I do.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up a few things. I have some committee comments. First one, I personally just wanted to appreciate the Jeffries for putting together this RFP with Elizabeth championing this issue. We don't have the resources to do a substantial RFP like this. This is excellent. So we have a great foundation to build from, and I'm looking forward to having it go out, and it's getting all of the issues that have been brought up with the tech committee before, but definitely Elizabeth has pushed forward the key points. So that's one. And quickly, a few points. The one thing I noticed is that I think we need service consideration. There's a lot of product information here in terms of what needs to be installed and provided. And there will be, expect quite a bit of service in terms of getting people onto the network, migrating their files, training. And so that, I think it should be a consideration in the RFP. I will email the committee comments over to Elizabeth and Jeffries.
Yes.
Through the tech committee as well.
That was a good point, that we do need to migrate all the data to the new.
Right, that's
That should be
substantial. It
included,
needs to be
yes.
considered whether that's an hourly cost or a fixed cost. So that's of importance. There does need to be a. I think that there should be some references. I know all of the vendors in the area have experience with other municipalities and clients, so that would be a good listing from the vendor to provide that information, references, so we can call other municipalities to see how they've done it, because we're sort of doing it on our own with the vendor support, but there are instances where we can refer and understand what's been done. There needs to be a network diagram. The tech committee from a previous generation has done a great job of putting together the network that has lasted this long, so they should be commended. But we do need an updated diagram, whether it's a proposal or the one that comes out of this. And that should contain a certain amount of inventory about what's being touched by the network. So that should be considered part of the RFP. The mail server is a questionable whether or not we'll actually use it or not, or want it or not. We've talked about this quite a bit at the tech committee, but we'll see what we can get. I'm eager to see what's there. And alternatives to a mail server can be considered because there are online solutions. In-house support we've talked about. There are two UPSs. I didn't know if that's correct. Two UPS. Okay, just wanted to confirm that. And documentation. There's an emergency plan, which is an excellent support option, basically saying what happens for data backups and how to restore and other emergency situations. And that procedure should be documented by the vendor. That's one of the key. And that's about it. Consideration long-term, if everything goes well, and this is all very positive, that the village there is a wire going across between the two, but they could be considered later on. I think they should be made aware if everything goes well, ultimately. All right, and again, I'll email those notes.
I've been in touch with the mayor and let him know about this. He asked for us to come and do a presentation, but I think I'm going to refer the RFP to him and I've told him that I think the major opportunity for us to partner is for them if they'd like to share our server. But
sort of a later on.
Yeah, the rest is sort of all a la carte and would be on them. And I don't know if they'll find that helpful, but we could certainly consider that, if that would be.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
that's everything.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for everything, Dave.
Jim, I'd like to see an awful lot more about RDA in there.
The open, or what is it?
Yeah, it's open RDA systems. That's our backbone financial, and it's got a lot of capabilities, vouchers, and a lot of things that we don't really use. But that would give us a lot more efficiency in town hall and the other departments, especially if they're all linked together. And the last time you were here, we were talking about the cloud and being able to look at our expenditures and budget and stuff from home. And so I'd like to see that in there. I understand there'll be access control issues and things like that. But that's really our major piece of software. And Dave can disagree with me, but if we're going to run this town, that's the thing that everything ends up flowing into or out of. And so we need to hook up with that. And the training for that is going to be tremendous because it's not that intuitive. So you need a big training component, and maybe you want to subcontract that out to RDA. I don't know if you know that much about RDA.
Is that something we could attend to?
Well, we could attend to it, but their hardware and security protocols are going to have to understand the RDA systems.
You're talking about from a systems architecture point of view?
Yeah, they're going to have to understand all that because that's what ultimately we have to tie everything into. Otherwise, it's still a bunch of workstations.
Modules with no interface with our main hoo-ha.
So is that a separate contract we need with RDA?
I don't know.
We need to integrate it properly.
Yeah, we need to understand and make sure that it's spec so that we can integrate.
And is RDA the best one for us?
Well, it's what we
point?
have. That's what we're
I know it's
invested
what we
in.
have, but is it still the best one for us?
I don't know if it's the best one, but we've invested hundreds of thousands
Billions.
of dollars over the years on
It's
it.
the best one for us.
It's what we have.
It's a very robust system, and typically, that's why there's usually limited access to it. But there is some read-only access that might be beneficial.
Yeah.
And I think that's
That
what,
would be
For us,
that's
would
what
be
Mr.
great,
Washburn's
yeah.
talking about, right.
But what do we want them to say in this RFP about the RDA system?
Well, I was just about to get to that, which
Okay.
is, in here, we do include that the vendor needs to be knowledgeable and in very specific packages like business automation systems, software consulting associates, RDA, and things like that, and they have to be able to interface with those folks too. So that goes back to sort of that vendor history, which I think you were asking about before, which is, or Dave was bringing up, the vendor history. Because what you want to do is you want to find somebody who has worked in the municipal environment before, ideally. I mean, it shouldn't preclude them if they haven't, but I certainly think that that would be, if you were scoring somebody and, they just started in practice, of computers and they don't really know anything about municipalities.
That wouldn't
I
be a
think
big
that might be
score. Yeah, that
difficult.
wouldn't be a
Right,
big
that might be
score.
difficult to bring them up to speed on all that. So, but if you have somebody who does know about KVS and RDA and all the different accounting packages that are out there for municipalities, I think that's a plus. But to answer the question specifically, it does say in here that the person has to be knowledgeable and able to be able to interface with them. It doesn't mean that they necessarily know the product as well as Shelley does, okay, or one of the other folks here on the board, but they have to be knowledgeable enough to navigate through it and to be able to do the updates and so on.
But what does that
But
mean?
we
They have to
specifically
sell
have to
us-
have RDA.
Or run a training program.
Wait,
You gave the generic, high level, and
Bruce is
I
very
specifically
concerned
want
about RDA
RDA
open.
included in this.
Well, all right, we can add a page or two about RDA specifically and talk,
Yeah, that's
why don't we talk specifically about.
Or a paragraph or two.
Yeah, in here, we'll talk about
Comments.
access, because we're not going to be editing the numbers. We leave that to the bookkeeping department. So really what you're talking about is the capability to view the data in a real-time fashion as of a specific date. So, for example, this is October, so we're ending the,
Yeah, but
September
you're
30th. You want to see those numbers.
There's other functions that we could use.
Purchase
For
order.
Oh,
instance,
purchase orders and vouchers and things like that.
Vouchers, things like that. Employees can do their withholding and things like that from there and there's modules that RDA provides to do all that.
That we're not utilizing to the.
I would, yeah, and I think I'd mentioned this in some of the technology meetings or maybe with the councilwoman. What you want to do is, and this goes directly to your point, that you don't roll out all the modules at once. Maybe what we want to do is we want to phase it in. So the first thing we might want to talk about is getting the board members access to the RDA system from a view-only standpoint, get them familiar with how the menus all work, and then we move on to the vouchers and the purchase orders.
Having the highway department do all the
Right.
purchase orders, and in each department, yes.
And we've done that in other
I
towns, and that's
agree.
exactly the way they've done it.
It's a
And
stepped.
then much later on, if there's interface to the public, that would be something that we'd really have to sit down and.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's not, it's more of it's more important as a tool to
Internal work.
the employees, to the
Yeah,
machinations
and
of the.
Mr.
running of the
Washburn's
town.
point is well taken.
Yeah.
If we put it automated, it would also perhaps remove some of the redundancy of paper coming from the highway department, and then somebody has to re-enter it again in the bookkeeping department.
Thank you.
I'm a little confused, though. When we say we want the person to be familiar with RDA, what does that mean? That they have to sell us software that will interface with RDA?
It's just like knowing how to use any kind of software. We want the vendor.
Word perfect.
It would say
Well,
like,
Yeah, we want what?
it would be saying like, we want you to know how to use an Excel spreadsheet. Or it's like saying, we want you to know what the machinations of this software is. So the vendor has to be familiar with it or familiarize themselves with it. It's a familiarity with that specific software.
It's more than that, though. That-
And being able to, down the line, being able to help train us to implement it within the government, town.
Yeah, it should be, the access should be distributed. So you can get it from Tom's office, you can get it from the cemetery, you can get it from the highway, you can get it wherever. And what Jim's saying is read-only, but it's got to be there.
Well,
You've got to be
read-
able to get the access to it.
Read only for some things, but other things are, would be, would,
Right.
would be user interface, because you'd be creating purchase orders and that would go to vouchers.
But if
We
it's
s-
on one, I'm sorry, if it's on one terminal, one workstation, behind a locked door, that defeats the whole purpose of it.
Got it.
So we want the vendor to sell us something that will interface with the RDA system? Is that what we're saying?
No, they're asking that the vendor be familiar enough with the RDA system that they can answer basic questions about it or facilitate access to the system, but this is not replacing the support contract you have with RDA.
Right, but you're bridging to it.
Right.
Your architecture should bridge
Should bridge to it.
their software.
Architecture, so that means to
So no
sell
matter
us a
where-
software package.
Well, that's a hardware, good question. It used to be software, but now it's a hardware component, typically coming through the browser, it's encrypted, and then we have a piece of hardware in this and that decrypts it, and you can get into the network that way through a series of logins.
Okay, so we're
But yes, to
asking
answer your
for
question,
a piece of hardware that will do it.
and that's in here.
what we're
Yeah,
asking for.
That's in here. All right, and then we'll step up to the other issues about RDA as time progresses.
What's the score?
Nothing yet.
Are there any other specific amendments or additions? I thought it was pretty comprehensive and a huge relief to see, so thank you. Do we want to get out our calendars and maybe just amend dates so we can get this published and,
We originally had thought we would review it in September, and then we might send it out in
little late,
October, which
yeah.
is, no, we're fine. I mean, 'cause
A
we,
little late.
and then,
on
but now
time.
we could certainly, I think, here it is. Okay, it's almost the end of October now, but I think we can still put in these changes that people are suggesting from technology and the board. We can get that in there, and I think it would be ready. Your November meeting is what day? What day is your November meeting?
we just said is it the 5th?
November 13th? The next town board
Yeah,
meeting
it's Tuesday
will
the
be
13th, right?
November 13th.
All right, Tuesday, we can definitely meet that date, okay? Tuesday, the 13th of November.
So you will have a revised amendment to us.
Correct.
Will I have it far enough in advance to give it, should I give this version to the attorneys
No.
and have them?
Let's make the modifications that Mr. Washburn and the other members have asked for, and then we'll
Can I,
send that out in advance of the board meeting, let's say 7 days in advance of the board meeting,
Oh,
so that there's adequate time.
so I'll get it from you on the 6th.
Right.
That's 7 working days. My experience has been with the RFP for the building department software that she's going to take at least a week.
So
to-
Friday the
to
2nd?
do it. And why can't we give her this? You're,
I don't want to do that
He doesn't wa-
because
there's- we're adding
we've
some-
added a lot of stuff tonight. I'd rather,
but it's technical stuff. She's
No,
not.
it's not.
and then,
We're
what
gonna do it
I
once.
would worry about, Councilman, is that if I do that, and then there's a modification,
Do we
then
need her? Can we,
they might say, yeah.
we do?
We're going to spend this kind of money, we do.
Okay,
So I will endeavor to get it by 11/2, is that what you're requesting?
yes.
Okay.
And we meet on the 13th?
Yeah, that's a Tuesday, Joe.
Yeah, we probably should tell Pam it's coming.
I'll let her know she's going to get it 11/2.
All right, and then why don't I just push all the other dates? So if the 13th is the board meeting that you're intending to,
I'll tell her we
Release it
need,
by?
we need her comments by the 9th.
That's
The
fine,
morning of the 9th.
right? So I'll just push all the other dates, starting with the 13th. So all the response dates and everything will be generated by the
Fine.
13th. And I will check with the supervisor for any other
I'm
date
sorry,
changes.
So the 13th, we will have a final document from you?
Well, that would be where the board would approve it, and then you would give adequate time for the town clerk or whoever to get it onto the website, all right? And then I'll add a couple of days to make sure people have adequate time to respond. You know,
Okay.
I don't want to force anybody to have to
Okay,
kind of
so
read it.
we'll say that it will be available and online, and we should probably get a newspaper notice or two directing people to our website.
It's up to the board.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
like that. And say that it's probably around the, I don't know, 21st of November?
You'd like a response by then?
No, to
Oh,
get it out.
To get it out,
Yeah.
okay. Out by the 21st. Mhm. And then would have it returned the following month?
I
Well,
think
you need a time when questions can
Well,
come in and.
Those
a
dates are,
deadline.
yeah, those dates are in here, and we'll meet with people here at the town hall
Yeah.
who do pick it up from the clerk or respond via the web.
does this sound right to everybody?
Yep, I think we're ready to move on.
All right,
And
Right.
questions come in by a certain date.
correct, it's all in here. Yep,
I see that you're asking for a response by 11 a.m. We usually, the ones that I'm familiar with, do 3 p.m.
that's fine. Is that what you, that's the kind of thing the attorney looks over and says,
Well, why?
fix that?
What?
Why?
Because it gives them the remainder of the day, and you're not bumping up a 4 o'clock deadline when the town clerk closes, so.
We usually choose early in the day so that, people make it like the first thing they do, so that the clerk isn't standing out there waiting to stamp
4
stuff in.
o'clock. Yeah, that's why we
So
do
you want to do 3 p.m.?
3 o'clock, not 4 o'clock.
Is the board would like that, 3 p.m.?
Just gives people more time.
That sounds great.
Okay,
Thank you, Jim.
yep. And if you have any other questions, please just shoot me an email or whatever, and I'll try to get it incorporated
Thank you for
into
your
here.
work. Thanks for coming in, and
You're very welcome.
looking like we'll be off floppies by 2013. I'm excited.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Jim and Kim. Appreciate it. All right, items before the board, we have a motion second to approve the abstract 10B vouchers V 1047 through V 1082 in the amount of $36,009.72.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's so moved. Item 2 is motion to approve the 1022-12 capital projects abstracts for $1,993.87. Motion second?
Motion?
Second.
Second?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
That's so
We're having
moved.
fun here.
Finally.
Item 3 is a motion to set the public hearing for the fire contracts, contracts, and the, should receive them on or before November 7th. So, do we have the contracts at all, John, or no? Any come in? We don't know, sure, okay. Excuse me. Well, let's have the public hearing on the the 13th, I believe, will be our next town board meeting.
What is this, Tom? The fire districts give us a proposed budget,
Yeah.
and
They
the
give us-
public can comment on it, and
Right,
they can decide whether to change it or not.
right, yes.
We can't change it.
Well,
Right, or
that's
am I
my
wrong on
concern,
that?
is we're kind of late this year with the budget process, so we could probably have it during one of our budget meetings. If you want to do that.
I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. We have a couple of dates coming up.
Probably a couple more.
Well, we have something, 3 o'clock on the
The
5th.
5th, I was going to say, yeah, that's a good one. You want to set it for 3 o'clock on the 5th, November 5th? That's Monday, the 5th. Yeah, I think that's a good time, if you guys want to, the motion is second to set
Motion?
November 5th at 3 PM for the fire district's budgets hearing. Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
So moved. Okay. Item 4 is the disposition of the tax certiorari. That's for the assessors. And did you follow up, actually? Did you follow up with that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. Well, I'm working on the selection of the next action.
Yeah, I don't know what number 4 is.
I don't know what the disposition is,
Oh.
but
So I-
I think it's probably related to number 6.
Okay.
I mean, to number 5.
5.
We approved at the last meeting.
Carryover? Carryover?
Oh, that's a carryover.
Were we supposed to
Okay.
vote on?
It's what?
So that was a carryover, so we can disregard number 5, Jen?
Yeah,
Number 4, you mean? Right?
And then let's move on to 6 then?
5, you mean, right? 5 is the
Oh, I'm
selection.
sorry,
Yes, we
yep,
got
yep,
any
yep,
for-
sorry.
Okay.
I didn't have my glasses down.
Okay. So Gina,
I
you
think
follow that?
after we looked, it looked like the Hubble company was the preferred ones to go with. I requested an actual reduction but he's in jury duty, and we haven't heard back. So I think we should approve it for the rate which we decided before. It might come in slightly lower than that.
Okay,
But it was still lower, the lowest that we got.
okay.
And we've worked with them before, and they're
Yeah.
very thorough.
So motion and second to approve RP Hubble and Company, Inc. of Main Street, Poughkeepsie, to represent us as the appraisers for the tax tertiary issues mentioned before. Motion and second?
Motion?
Second?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 6 is a 2013 Dutchess County snow and ice resolution. Is that you, Kathy?
It's, I'm putting it forward for the Highway Department, if Kathy would like to,
Where is it in the tab?
It's number 7, Joe?
number 8.
Well, it's just
Number
right
eight.
here. It's number
I'm
8,
sorry.
but the tab is number 7.
No, it's number 8.
No, number 7 is the
Not on
resolution.
Number seven's-
8, look at, yours is under number 7? Okay, maybe it's different ones, different.
Okay.
This is-
Yes, I believe that you have, the confusion is that there are two resolutions that are related to snow. The first one that we're talking about is the standard Dutchess County authorization to enter into a snow and ice control contract. We have been, for as long as I can find out, have been clearing snow on 2 county-owned roads for the county under contract, for which we are reimbursed for our labor and machinery use, and are even given in-kind materials. This program, which will be the second resolution you talk about, is being reduced this year, but the first resolution before you is a standard resolution that the county supplies with. If you authorize that resolution, you're then authorizing the town supervisor to sign the contract to continue snow and ice removal program, even though this year is a reduced program. The reduction is this contract for this year would only cover County Road 85, which is Morton Road. It previously had covered Morton Road and River Road,
Which is 103.
which is County Road 103.
So we're losing 103.
Yes, but the first item, I mean, and although I certainly have concerns about losing another road because of I think, the potential impact on some of our town residents and taxpayers. But I think they're two separate issues for the moment. I think in light of that, we could address that. But overall, we want to stay with this program. I think it's good for the town.
Kathy, have we had this resolution every year?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
And this is the same contract we had signed every year, except for the change in,
Yes.
roads.
I mean, there may be minute differences that I haven't picked up on because, but it's the standard.
You've reviewed
basically
it and
it, yeah.
recommend that we sign it.
I do recommend it, yes.
One thing that came up during our budget discussion, and I won't say who unless they want to take credit for it, have we been undercharging them historically on what it actually does cost us? And maybe the county has been getting a good deal over the last couple of years?
I don't think I would say that. I would say that it's been an equitable arrangement, that we are getting back the money in accordance with the contract for the services that we provide.
Okay.
Because it's charged pretty, based on time, based on material. I think it's equitable for both sides.
Well, I'm the one that poked there, so what I did was I took and I only did it for 103, the 3.29 miles, just to figure out what it was.
Is that the one we're losing, or is that the one we're
Yeah, I didn't do it for the other one.
Yeah.
And what I did was I took the snow removal budget, and then I took the percentage of that budget out of the benefits and machinery, and said, okay, that comes out to about 17% of those two things we would tack on to the snow removal thing. Then I divided by the total number of 63.62 miles. Okay, that was what I figured we had. And so it came out to,
Is that our lane miles?
no, this was the way they're calling it,
Okay.
because it would be like double that, or is it 128 or something like that, right, lane miles. but I came out with $47.50 basically a mile that we budget a year. So for the 3.29, that'd be 15.6 that we budget, and year-to-date,
15,600, $15,000 to plow?
3.29 miles.
No.
Why no?
What are you adding up again? Oh, yeah.
I want to hear where this is, I'd like, if you would continue, because I'm trying to catch up with your
Well,
information.
I mean, I can give you the sheet and you can go through the math.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's not the
That'd
thing.
be great.
The thing is, if you take our snow removal budget, basically you divide it by the number of miles that we plow, and I added in the benefits and the machinery, right? Maybe that could be a little different. It comes out to $15,600 a mile. That's what we budget. And our year-to-date through the end of September came out to $5,000 a mile. And we haven't gotten to the winter yet. We had a mile winter
Right.
so far. So what Gina and I were talking about is the 6,000 or whatever it is that we're getting. Is it really enough?
It's okay, now I understand, okay. The $6,000 that was estimated as the loss was, I took a quick look, I didn't go as in-depth as you did on that, Bruce, was looking at what the budget amount is. The amount on other government services that we do usually throughout the budget is really a placeholder number, because what we charge for what we've done, the revenue that comes in matches the expense that goes out. So the numbers are usually placeholders based on estimate. Obviously, you worked out something that's a much closer estimate, but the numbers and the revenues that come in are probably not far off because it's based on the actualities. And we should probably talk to Shelley about that and make sure the three of us have an understanding and use the same formulas to try and come to these numbers. That's what I would suggest.
Okay.
But as a practical matter, there's nothing we can do about it this year, that we gotta really sign this because we're not gonna get the county to pay us more. And then maybe we ought
But
to.
that's not true. This agreement says they pay you the actual amount. So they're not setting the fees.
Oh, okay.
And so
Right, that's right. That's why I'm saying Bruce and Shelley and I need to go through and make sure that we're
charging the correct.
looking at the
Yeah,
right
I want to
amounts.
make sure that we're doing that because
Yeah.
Right.
That's
No,
good, Bruce.
that's right. Good. But Bruce, your concern isn't that we should not participate in the program. You think we should participate, right? I think we all are on the same page with
We should participate,
that.
and we should
Right,
actualize our costs.
right. Which I think are happening, and that's why I'm saying
Right.
Bruce and Shelley and I, three of us should sit down.
Okay.
So this resolution continues our service with the county, our collaboration service with the county to plow, not River Road, but
Morton Road.
Morton Road.
So you're passing two kind of things. You're passing the resolution, which is, there's a sample in your packet. I believe it's one of the last pages in your tab. And then, which authorizes, so then you're also passing the contract, the ability for Tom to sign the contract, which is also included in your documentation.
Right.
We should make a motion.
So we have no motion and a second to approve snow and ice service with the county.
Motion? A second?
1 second, please. I'm going to ask for a roll call, so all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 2 is a motion by a resolution by the Town Board Exhibit A for,
Basically, if I can introduce this, since I've worked with Kathy on it, it's a sort of just a resolution protesting that,
no, I'm sorry, you're on something else here.
sorry?
We have another resolution to execute the contract with the town's participation in the
Okay.
snow and ice control program. 1 second, sorry.
the end of the same tab, 7?
Yep.
It's the same thing.
All right, so, never mind, go ahead.
Well, we're going to authorize you to
There was
sign-
an A and B in that last, so I wanted to actually just, so we're okay with it, we did it.
We did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
As I see it right, John, right? Do you understand?
Yeah.
I saw the A and B, and I wanted to make sure I didn't do a second resolution on it. I think B is just a schedule
Authorizing you to sign and
and pay for it.
The resolution doesn't,
Right,
so it's really one action.
gotcha. Okay.
Exhibit A.
That was item 6, now on to item 7.
Item 6, Exhibit A,
Yeah.
right, was approved unanimously.
Right, and item B does not have to be approved by us, it's just a,
I don't think so.
Item
Okay.
A states that you're approving item.
right, but there was a B after that, I want to make sure that we had it, okay, all right.
We got it.
Item 7 for business is a resolution regarding the reduction to the County Department of Public Works Snow and Ice Control Program. Going to tab B. So is this ours?
This is our resolution.
Tab
Tab 8.
It's just it's a protest, letting the county know that we're not excited about having some of our shared services reduced. So the reduction of our highway department plowing County Route 103 we view as a possible, well, it's not only a loss of revenue, but potentially a loss in service to our taxpayers, or something that our highway superintendent feels. It's an extension of the county plowing through several towns, and it could cause delays and loss of service to our taxpayers. So it's a formal protest.
I think it's especially egregious in that part of Molinaro's reduction of our sales tax was we were going to gain income back through shared services, and not only are we losing income from it, but we're losing service as well, potentially. So I think it's doubly egregious, and I'm happy to put forward this resolution because I'm missing a very important soccer game to be here to make it pass.
Okay. So there's a motion and second, we'll have a discussion afterwards. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a
Second.
second? So discussion on this? I just want to say that I've been in communication with the acting commissioner of the Public Works to try to see if we could do something about it, Robert Bulkind. He's also the director of highway construction and maintenance, and this is a act for their reorganization. They have they're just restructuring the public works, trying to find ways to make their department sustainable, and they found, not by any other means, they're very satisfied with Rhinebeck Highway Department's job they have done. There's no issue about that, he said, and it's just an issue of restructuring on their behalf. It's disappointing for me to see a piece of collaboration go, but I'm going to abstain supporting this resolution because of the communication I have been involved with. He's offered other areas, such as engineering benefits to us for highway projects and so on, although it wouldn't be design-type projects. That he has offered to send his engineers out to our sites to
For free?
for free as part of an effort. And as I'll explain later on, there's other areas in the county that I've gotten that similar kind of a reach out for collaboration in other ways. So based upon my continued effort to communicate with the county to find ways to work with them to help reduce costs in our town and work together, I'm going to abstain from this.
So you can remain communications open.
Right.
Well, we'll make the noise on your
Okay, you
behalf.
make noise.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't need noise. Kathy?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to add a little bit of additional background. There are 8 towns that currently plow for the county. Of the 8, 4 of them have had reductions in their programs. So I do want to just make it known that it's not just Rhinebeck that this is happening to. And I understand the county's reorganization attempts, absolutely. And for them, I think I can see why it makes sense to try that out. I share, though, Tom, your concern, which I'm really disappointed to see an area of collaboration, and what I think was really an example of a very efficient collaboration, economical, and just good service for citizens. My concern is the county is, it's their road, and they plow and they'll do a very good job. I'm sure I have no concern about that whatsoever. But I do know that we are here in Rhinebeck, right here with our eyes and our wheels on those roads. So it's really unfortunate to lose that, because I think we're in a position to respond quicker, and there are characteristics, especially to River Road, that make that response time really critical. It's got 2 sections of wide open meadows that are susceptible to drift. We're there, we see that, we have trucks going by to get to our other routes anyway. It just sort of makes sense that we could see it, we could treat it immediately. Now we won't be able to do that. If this is added on to, or this will be added on to an existing route, it lengthens that route for the county, not only the service to the River Road residents living within Rhinebeck that are on now a route that they have to wait to be on the service end of, but also it elongates every other resident and user of the roads along that route, because that route has gotten so much longer. That truck has to go that much further and come back that much further before it's passing another point of service.
Where does the route start? Does it go through Bard, or?
They're doing, yes, the route is on the north end of River Road. It does do that, and will continue now south through the traffic light at 199 to continue down to the termination at Rhinecliff Road and go back. So it's adding that on. There are other roads that route does as well for the county. I don't know the specifics of how they...
What the route is.
Right, but it's being paired with that route. That being said, just for background, I did want to add that I do think there are a couple of slight language changes in here, because I know that there were some concerns that were brought forth in discussion. Elizabeth shared that with me. And if I could just make a couple of quick potential edits. In the second whereas, should read, whereas partnering for the provision of snow and ice control services on county roads within the town has been an example of shared services between the county and the town. The following whereas the town participation by sanding, salting, or otherwise treating county roads within the town has provided efficient service satisfying the county's requirements year after year. The following whereas is a date change. There was a typo.
Can you go slow? Satisfying what?
The county's requirements year after year. The following whereas is just a date change. There was a typo. It's the 2012 to 2013 season. Skipping through to the next page in the resolves. The first resolve has 3 points. I actually think that the first one should be amended, and the second or third one of them is eliminated. I'll read it out. So it would be resolved that the town of Rhinebeck objects to the removal of County Road 103, AKA River Road, from reduction of the shared services program on the basis that, 1, it may result in service delays to town of Rhinebeck taxpayers living on and using River Road. 2, it is contrary to the county executive's stated goal.
Oh, God, it is, go slow, it is contrary.
You have the language there. You have the language there, just move it up. It is contrary to the county executive's stated goal of increasing shared services between the county and towns.
Okay.
And then the other resolves stay the same.
Oh, so we're eliminating 2.
Correct. And amending 1.
Thank you, Kathy. If those had been done before, I might have been able to go to the game, but I do have to say that Seth McClanahan just scored with a David Williams assist, so we're leading Ellenville 1-0.
Well, you're there in a cyber kind of way. Kathy, would you please, Bruce, did you have any other amendments or points you
No,
wanted to make
I
with this?
appreciate that my input was incorporated. The thing I wanted to be sure of, I think we need to protest the hypocrisy of the shared services and then taking it away. I have no problem with that. I think we should not pretend that we know how to manage county roads better than they do. That doesn't buy us anything.
I agree.
And we have other activities that we do with the county where we don't want to get on the wrong side of them.
It's important that we maintain a good relationship with them, and, we understand that the tenor of things within the county has changed for the better, so we want to be respectful of that and certainly encourage the communication. It's unfortunate that we've lost this, and and that's the point of it. Kathy, would you please email?
I emailed with those language changes to you this afternoon.
And would you forward them to the clerk as well?
Absolutely.
John, the clerk?
Yeah.
Thank you.
The clerk who?
John Gautier, the town clerk.
You haven't taken a vote yet, right?
Right, but we're
So-
going to vote on this tonight with the changes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The way I just read it, right, with the changes.
And I would be pleased and proud to make this motion since I'm here and present to do so.
So any further discussion from the board?
No, thank you.
So motion, Gina?
Thank you.
Okay.
Second.
Second from Elizabeth, by roll call Supervisor Staines, Councilperson Fox,
Aye.
Councilperson Gelb,
Aye.
Councilperson Spenzia,
Aye.
and Councilwoman Washburn.
Aye.
Thank you.
So moved. Item 8 is a, am I in the right page? Hold on a second here. Item 8 is to motion to schedule the budget public hearing. So we have on the November 5th, the fire department public hearing for the fire department's budgets, and we have a budget workshop to follow that. We have to adopt this budget by, we have to close the public hearing by November 15th. So, do we have any more budget workshops after this?
Let's hope so.
Let
We
us-
scheduled one today that isn't on the,
Which one?
that
Oh,
hasn't been
this,
made public.
this morning, for this week.
Okay, so how about we have a town board meeting on November 13th, which is 2 days before the close, so we should open the public hearing for the budget then? We should have a budget ready for public by then, I would think.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what day?
13th, November
The
13th.
public hearing at that town board meeting.
Yeah.
Gina, our meeting this week is what?
Thursday at 10 o'clock, Thursday, October 25th, from 10 to 12.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we ought to schedule some more
There's that new
meetings
meeting that we-
in November.
Yeah,
So
but first Tom's
we have
dealing with putting it
to,
out to the public.
Yeah, I understand.
motion and second to schedule the budget public hearing for November 13th
Motion?
at, what time did we set that? Oh, at 7 o'clock. Motion and second? Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I didn't catch the time.
7 PM.
7.
November 13th.
Yes.
November 13th at 7 p.m.
Public hearing for the budget, November 13th at 7 PM.
And note that that's a Tuesday because of the holiday the day before, so just for the public. So there were.
Oh.
We have, just for your advice, we have to adopt the tax override by the 15th. So just keep that in the back of your mind if we're going to adopt that. Our deadline to adopt the budget will be November 20th.
Oh, November 20th.
I'm sorry, when is the deadline to override the tax cap, that same day?
15th,
So we could do it on our third meeting
Right.
if we needed to?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Tom, what did you say about the 20th?
20th is the absolute final date to adopt the budget.
We're not having a meeting.
We don't have a meeting now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah,
okay.
okay. All right, so moved.
So could we set some more budget meetings in, I guess, November?
Don't you think we'll be done next week?
I don't know, Elizabeth, if we are, then we can cancel it, but I'm not very hopeful.
How about, can't election day. How about the 7th?
Have to be in the morning. Bruce and I have labor negotiation in the afternoon.
We have one on the 29th, right?
We have one on this Thursday, the 25th as well.
25th,
Yeah.
the 29th.
And we also have the 5th, I think, right?
Second?
The
No.
5th. Yes, we have a 3 o'clock on November 5th, Tom.
Yep, and then we have a town board meeting on the 13th.
Is there any possibility of doing something on the 31st, Wednesday?
That's okay with
Okay.
me. What about the 30th?
Bruce is shaking his head, no, he can't do it.
What about the 30th?
During the day, but not at night.
You want to do
Right,
it
it's not
during the
me.
day?
I could do something during
Is
the day.
that Halloween?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you want to do it during the day?
Or
Yeah,
let's
I'm
just
afraid to go out at night.
let's all miss Halloween and do a budget workshop.
I guess I'm not going
Not
to
take the
Joe's for
ki-
trick or treat. He doesn't
Really?
even know it's Halloween. The 31st is fine for me. Should we start at 3 and get done in time for?
No, I have to be done by 3, I'm sorry.
I can do it in the morning.
Want to do morning?
I am available, I'm sorry,
We have a play.
10 o'clock?
I'm available at noon. I could do noon to 2.
Sooner?
Sorry?
Not anything earlier?
No.
The second, Joe. We changed it to the.
You could start without me.
Friday night? Oh, okay.
I'll start by myself. Yeah, no.
Or
How
do
about
one
noon on the
place.
31st?
Noon on the 31st.
On Halloween?
I'm coming as Ayn Rand.
I'm not sure what the, yeah,
Get your own candy.
yourself.
So we have a motion, a second for October 31st at noon. Is that okay?
Budget.
Yeah,
October 31st.
Motion and second?
motion.
Second,
All in favor, aye?
All right.
Aye. So moved.
aye.
Okay.
Then what can we do the following week?
We have the 5th.
We've got the 5th, and we can add some more there if we need.
Can we do the 7th in the morning or the 8th in the afternoon?
7th in the morning is preferable to me.
Bruce, Tom, can you?
Yeah, I can do the 7th in the morning.
Elizabeth?
I'm paging as fast as I can.
7th is Wednesday.
We have a 3 PM on the 5th. We're looking at,
7th in the morning?
sure.
Okay.
You like that better than the 8th, Gina?
I do. But it
Okay.
doesn't matter. If everyone wants the 8th, I can do that.
What do people prefer, the 7th in the morning or the 8th? To be over by 5:30?
On
7th.
7th in the morning, about 10
7
o'clock?
in the morning, 10 to
Okay.
10 to 12?
Yeah,
Yeah, good. Okay,
okay.
that's good.
Do we need,
No,
I think we're good. Right?
Yeah, yes.
okay, Grant Slayton just scored on a Nick Hoynes assist.
I'm
We're
gonna-
up 2-0.
Motion is second to approve November 7th at 10 a.m.
We've got a budget meeting just for the clerk, November 7th, 10 to 12. And we set another one for Halloween from
Noon.
noon to 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
These are budget workshops.
Yes.
Okay. You guys all set? Item number 9 is resolution for the recreation, I'm sorry, not a resolution, just a recreation refund policy. It's tab number 9.
Ooh, I love the tabs.
We got new language in our town boards, they're called tab languages.
I love the tabulation. There's
sure you give them back.
nobody's shuffling.
Yeah,
It's,
Oh, it's great.
we're just turning.
it's our new clerk.
Just make sure you give them back, the tabs.
Okay,
And the
And the
binders.
binder.
we draw on them?
it would be great if we could work toward getting these on a Friday, so we could look at it over the weekend.
If you promise to stop making changes to the agenda on Thursday.
Well, to get
Joe, give me more
whatever,
gal.
whatever is ready by then.
Is the board prepared to set a resolution deadline?
No,
Well then, it's unfortunate.
Okay,
And then it's too bad for you. Yeah, too bad for you.
I'll wait till the,
Get it
it's
all
been
done?
brought up before.
the recreation refund policy, this is the rework of it after the last time we talked about the town board. It was sent out to be discussed at the last meeting, and I missed the last meeting because I was ill.
And you're feeling better.
I was feeling better. And we have, what I've done is I've put in the comments that the board had made,
It looks-
addressed those. I took out the examples, which just opened things up for all kinds of controversy. And so now it's in its final form, I hope.
It's nice and clean looking.
yeah, you did a good job on that, Bruce.
Thank you.
Shout out.
Bruce. I'm comfortable with it.
Yep.
So then I would ask for a motion to adopt
Motion and a
this.
second. Your motion? Is there a second?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's so moved. Item 10 is a resolution relating to the county executive's proposal to reduce the Rhinebeck's share of the sales tax.
This is my resolution. Again, it's a sort of a formal, I want to say a complaint. We're registering our dismay and having our income in the form of shared sales tax reduced. The county executive has kept the share of the town's sales tax at 25 million. So Rhinebeck's share of that is about 15% of what we receive, or almost $43,000.
Or I like to see that as one job. That's how I view that. That's just me.
It's 1% of our operating budget. So it's significant for us in the face of a 2% tax cap. We realize that everyone's having problems. It's my attempt to register formally a complaint. I have a couple of changes to make to it, though. Just some language. The eighth whereas. Whereas under the county executive proposed tax plan, the town of Rhinebeck stands to lose about $42,000 in sales tax, not SAX revenue. Let's just take out like other towns. Let's not speak for other towns. Let's just speak for ourselves. Rhinebeck is using its ever-shrinking fund balances to meet rising costs. The next whereas I'd like to strike completely because I think it's diluting. We're talking about sales tax, not the loss of other revenue. In the following, whereas I'd like to remove and recently unfairly transferred that cost. We don't know fair or unfair. We're having a reaction to what it's doing to us.
So what it's going to read, and transfer that cost?
Yes. The
Okay.
county formerly bore that cost for all elections.
So just take out the word unfairly?
And recently unfairly transferred that cost.
So how's it read?
Got it.
So how's it going to read?
Whereas the
And
county
what-
executive, would you like to read it?
Yeah. Gina, let her just say it. And what?
Whereas the county executive's proposal to pick up some of the cost of elections does not recognize that the county formerly bore that cost for all elections to local municipalities. And as such, partial payment of election cost does not equal the amount of sales tax proposed to be taken away. Is that satisfactory?
That's all the changes?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thrilled with it.
You got the villages and
Oh, I'm sorry. The last, be it further resolved. Again, no, I'm sorry. The second to the last, we're going to take out revenue sharing with all towns and villages of Dutchess County. Again, we don't want to speak for other towns, villages, and municipalities. We want to speak only for ourselves.
But what is it going to say? For
Well, if
sharing
you-
of all towns? Or for sharing with Rhinebeck?
No, it's going to end after distribution and revenue sharing, semicolon, and.
I think it's important to protest this move by the county executive to attempt to balance an unfortunate budget situation on the backs of the towns. And I think it's important for us as elected officials to stand up to the constituents and the people who elected us to protect and preserve their interests.
Any further comments?
well, I thank my colleagues for incorporating my input.
Anytime.
It was very good, Bruce.
I mean, I struggled with what's the end result of this, but I think it's a good motion or a good activity on our part to formally protest these types of things. And Joel, if you don't come back with more money for us, don't come back. There's Kathy.
Want to vote down?
Or write us a check.
I think it's really great that the town is taking the lead and doing this and going on record with this, because I think it's important that all towns do this, because it's going to affect all of them. And I think one of the things I want to point out why I think it's so important is because under the formula that exists currently, under the sales tax distribution with the towns, when times are tough and revenues are down, everybody shares that pain. Well, when times improve and sales tax revenues go back up, everybody feels the benefit. Well, with this cap, everybody will feel the pain, but once revenues go up again and this is capped, there won't be any share of the benefit. So I think it's really the formula that's being proposed is basically not fair based on the history of the way that there's been something. So I applaud the town board for taking this action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as a background, in the past, up until 4 or 5 years ago, the town did not rely on sales tax like it does now. It was much more conservative in projecting it, and was able to, there goes my tic tacs, it was able to build up a lot of its fund balance because of underestimating the sales tax revenue. Now we're counting every dollar and.
It's because we had that's because we had mortgage tax money and we had other things flying.
It was the same with mortgage tax. We were more conservative on things. So maybe we need to look at giving ourselves a little cushion on our projections for revenue, sales tax and mortgage.
It's a good point you make, because I believe it was the 80s when the county has begun to share the sales tax revenue with the towns. Sales tax revenue is the biggest revenue maker for the county by far. There's a couple of points that are missing here. Let me first start by saying I have been in open communication with the county executive a lot. He's a very accessible individual, and I haven't had that experience in the past, especially in my 25 years in county government at any level. So I applaud the county executive for being open to talk about these issues, to try to find ways to collaborate in different ways. Let me just say, this is about sustainability for the county. They're trying to address an issue. He's trying to figure out how to close his $40 million tax gap. He's trying to share it with us. He's also trying to work with us to lower the impact. He's trying to